Beautiful weather, sunshine and gorgeous sky behind me, and just thinking about, just random stuff. So today, I guess I want to talk a little bit about what would you do if you had to figure out something, like say, what if your normal mode of, working and living and stuff like that started to change. Like for me in the summertime, because I teach during the school year, the summertime is actually when I start to have to find creative ways to make money. But the fun thing about it is that because I'm a creative person, a artist, someone who likes to find ways to express myself, I actually find music gigs and different things where I can start to do photography, videography, etc. And all of these things are essentially either businesses or part-time job kind of things, and this is just something where I'm able to find ways to live my life more fully and in ways that are in alignment with who I really am. How would you do things if you had to change what you're doing as far as work, right? Imagine if one day you just woke up and you were maybe physically incapable of doing a certain type of work and you had to figure out like, maybe I can do something else, right? Like say if you cooked, right, in a restaurant or something like that, and all of a sudden you had a knee issue or something like that, and you wanted to retrain yourself to maybe like do office work or something, like what kind of stuff would you do, it's an interesting thought exercise to have. Like if I wanted to switch to something else right now, say if I had to work in an office, I couldn't be on my feet, right, like I might actually go and you could go to a temp agency or something like that, or you could go and you could look up in your state what licensures there are for different types of work, things that you might be interested in. You might even want to get into something like insurance. You might want to get into something like, what's another thing that you need a licensure for? Let me think here. Maybe like securities or finance, things like that. You have to have a license to be able to deal with like securities and stuff like that, like an investment banker. What if you had to get into a new sector, right? Like a different market, like a different market of employment, right? Like if you had to get into like banking, how would you do that, right? I remember back in the day I used to work for a bank, but before I did, I always had this idea that you can't really just walk into you can't just work at a bank without any experience, right? It seemed to me like kind of like a prestigious job or whatever. But then I started working in the back end of a bank, and I realized that you can take that job and become a teller, and then from that you can go to a personal banker, or you don't even have to become a teller first. I think you can actually just become a personal banker if you get like a referral from somebody, or they think you'd be good at the job. And I actually have one friend who started, and he was working in restaurants, just like I was talking about, and he ended up going to work for a mortgage company and ended up making six figures. So these are just like really cool, like thought exercise kind of examples of like, how would you change things? How could you pivot and do things differently? And it wasn't too long ago that I figured out that you can do photography and videography as a way to kind of get into art, actually. And I started to take videos and photos and stuff with some nice cameras that I got when I was working and going and meeting some musicians at one of the venues that I go to. And I just realized I should buy some good cameras and start trying to do that. And I got into it a lot and ended up making some actual canvas prints of some of the art that I made. So that was kind of a cool thing. So I just challenge you to think about different ways that you can reinvent yourself, come up with different ways to get into different things, pivot from the industry that you're in, and maybe see if there's something that you can do that's a more true and full expression of who you really are. Hopefully that's pretty good food for thought, and let me know what you think.